Does Tylenol cause autism? You've probably seen this all over the news, so stay tuned and we're going to talk about what you need to know. So every few years a new health scare pops up, and this time it's Tylenol or paracetamol or acetaminophen or whatever you call it in your country causing autism. And who said it? None other than that big orange clown, Donald Trump. But should you be worried? Stay where you are and I'll tell you exactly what the science says and if you need to change what you're doing.
The meteoric rise in autism is among the most alarming public health developments in history. There's never been anything like this. I want to say it like it is. Don't take Tylenol. Don't take it. If you just can't, I mean, it's fight like hell not to take it. There may be a point where you have to, and that you have to work out with yourself, so don't take Tylenol.
So here, Donald Trump addresses the nation and tells pregnant women not to take Tylenol under any situation because it causes autism. Genuine madness. Why is a president getting involved in healthcare? Anyway, let's go through the science, we'll dig through it and I'll tell you what you need to know. Because social media has been going bananas in the last few days about it. The idea that Tylenol, or paracetamol as we call it in the UK and Australia, could lead to autism after being used in pregnant women has been floated about for years, and it's been heavily investigated. And it usually comes from what we call observational studies, and that makes people confuse correlation with causation. And we're going to explore that idea in a bit more detail because it sounds confusing. So you would have seen President Trump talking about it in his press conference, and then idiots like Nigel Farage have been going on about it as well. And he even claimed that he has no idea whether the claim is right or wrong. And scarily, he might be in charge of the UK soon. And he went on to say that he doesn't trust science either and he takes no side. Jenny McCarthy, as always, the prominent anti-vaxxer, has chimed in as well, even though she has no medical training and no business being in that space at all. And obviously RFK Jr. standing in the background of that video of Donald Trump giving his message, and he's absolutely delighted by this. But here's the problem. People telling you these stories are not doctors, they're not scientists, they have no idea what they're talking about, and they shouldn't really be anywhere near the healthcare space, which is what worries me the most. So let's actually look at what the science says, because it is pretty conclusive on this. The biggest and best study that was done came out of Sweden on over 2.5 million children, looking at the link. At first glance in this study though, it did look like there was a bit of a difference in the autism diagnoses. So the rate was 1.42% in kids whose mum took Tylenol during pregnancy, and in those kids whose mums didn't take paracetamol during pregnancy, the rate was 1.33%. But here's the important part. Once the scientists accounted for family genetics and environment by looking at sibling studies, that difference vanished. And from this study of 2.5 million children, they were able to conclude paracetamol use in pregnancy does not cause autism or does not increase the rates of autism. And here's why people were getting confused by the earlier studies, because they were all observational. Now, what does that mean? Observational studies notice patterns. They can't prove cause and effect. For example, mums who are taking Tylenol in the first place might be taking it because they've got a fever or they've got an infection, which might actually account for the differences. So let's dig a bit deeper on that correlation versus causation. So I'm going to give you an example. During summer, more people go to the beach and more people statistically drown during summer. Also during summer, people eat ice creams. So a correlation would be as ice cream sales go up, drownings go up. So ice cream eating causes drowning. That is a correlation, not a cause. So you can't say from those stats that eating ice cream causes drowning. So observational studies are useful for raising questions, but they don't give us any answers. And that is why the Swedish sibling study is so powerful. It controls for those hidden factors. And once you do that, the link completely disappears. So here's the scary part about this type of messaging from people like Donald Trump. If pregnant women are now scared to take Tylenol, they might leave things like a fever untreated. And a high fever in pregnancy is actually linked to adverse outcomes for mum and baby. So there are real dangers. So this misinformation can cause real harm. Tylenol or paracetamol is completely safe when you use it in the doses that are recommended. And it's one of the few things that pregnant women can actually use safely during their pregnancy. But ignoring and not treating a fever can be dangerous. And let's be honest, Donald Trump loves a soundbite. This isn't new. Do you remember that horrible car crash press conference that he gave where he looked over at his advisor and says we should just inject bleach to treat COVID-19.
Right, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it...
Crazy stuff. And this guy is giving out health information. He should be nowhere near it. This is from the same book. It's attention grabbing. It's scare tactics. It's a form of control with absolutely no science to back it up. And RFK Jr., he has been spouting anti-vaccine rhetoric for years. And then there was some celebrities like Jenny McCarthy who got involved. And then more recently, we've got guys like Nigel Farage putting his 2 cents in when it's really not needed, Nigel. Remember, this was a politician who told you that Brexit was going to be great for Britain. How's it going? Healthcare should never be run on sound bites like these people give you. It should be run on science and evidence and expertise. So here's what the actual experts say and who you should be listening to. The American College of Gynecologists and Obstetricians has come out and said that linking Tylenol to autism is irresponsible and that more than 20 years of research show there's no link. The World Health Organization says similar, that there's no conclusive evidence that Tylenol use in pregnancy causes autism. And the CDC says the same. And before your conspiracy friends tell you that all the studies are funded by the CDC, the large study that we're talking about with the 2.5 million children was carried out in Sweden. CDC has nothing to do with it, but it's very good and thorough research. So here's the key takeaway. Tylenol use in pregnant women does not cause autism. Neither do vaccines, but that's another video. But what does cause harm is fear-mongering, political soundbites, and ignoring the real science. If you're pregnant, talk to your doctor. Please don't listen to President Trump. It's simply just not true. And our recommendations for using Tylenol, paracetamol is that you use it for the shortest period that you need it and use it in the lowest possible dose. But that's always been the case, and that's the same with every medicine that we give out. So if that cleared things up for you, then like, share it with somebody who you think needs to see it, and subscribe for more evidence-based health advice. Because the louder the nonsense gets, the louder we need to be to shout back with science. And definitely don't listen to anybody who can't blend in their foundation properly. Sorry, Donald, that's a low blow. Till next time, see you later.